this metric isn't something that you look at necessarily on a daily basis. This is something that as a sales rep or as an organization, you should be looking at from a trend perspective, meaning from 1 month to the next, or quarter to quarter, or year to year. Is that sales velocity increasing or is it decreasing? If it's not increasing year after year, quarter after quarter, then something is amiss within your sales flow, your funnel, your pipeline. And we need to understand what is driving that decrease in your sales velocity.
I really want to dive into this concept. You were just talking about it before the podcast on sales velocity. And I have so much that I want to talk on. So if you're a sales rep, this is going to be super applicable. And if you're a sales company, this is going to be super applicable. So I'm going to kind of cater it to both. And we're going to start from the sales rep's perspective. And, first let's explain the concept of sales velocity. It's a formula that sales companies, whether you're SaaS, whether you're door to door, whatever, needs to kind of understand. So break that down in simple layman terms.
Yeah. So sales velocity, it's really a single metric that is kind of a conglomerate of several different key performance indicators that a sales company would look at. And it really is there to give you a trend as to how well your business or you as a salesperson is selling from an efficiency standpoint. It essentially just reflects, how quickly you are moving leads through your funnel to produce revenue for your business. So in the simplest form, that's what sales velocity is.
Love it. So speed to get lead to sale, basically. And there's a few factors that go into that. And what would you say some of the key factors would be that you see in sales companies that help them drive those levers to say, I'm going to get more leads and get them converted faster and make that a smooth process?
Yeah, so there is so much. I mean, if we break down the sales velocity formula as a whole, there's really 4 components that make up that formula. One is the number of opportunities. 2, it's your average deal size. So what's the value of one deal worth to you? Your win rate. So out of how many people you have an opportunity to sell, how many of those do you close? And then what's your length of sales cycle? Is it 2 days? Is it 1 week? Is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? And so those are the 4 main levers that you're looking at to create this sales velocity score. Now, what's meaningful in when you ask, what are all the things that go into increasing that score? Well, if we look at those 4 categories, again, number of opportunities, average deal size, win rate, and length of sales cycle, you could spend an entire podcast on each one of those core subjects and those levers to really break down what needs to go into each one of those. And overall, this metric isn't something that you look at necessarily on a daily basis. This is something that as a sales rep or as an organization, you should be looking at from a trend perspective, meaning from 1 month to the next, or quarter to quarter, or year to year. Is that sales velocity increasing or is it decreasing? If it's not increasing year after year, quarter after quarter, then something is amiss within your sales flow, your funnel, your pipeline. And we need to understand what is driving that decrease in your sales velocity. The point of a sales team is continue to produce more revenue for business. And if it's so surprising to me, Sam, and I'm telling you, like 80% of all of companies that sell B2C, like door to door, that come in and talk to Sales Rabbit, majority of them wouldn't even be able to tell you what their sales numbers are. So those 4 metrics that we look at, or let alone how many leads they produce or how many people do their reps talk to in a given day, like no one really knows their metrics. And so The first thing is companies that we work with, it is the most crucial, important thing for them to identify these metrics from the start. If they're not tracking them or they haven't been tracking them historically, they need to start today and start tracking them to set their baseline or their benchmark to really understand how they're going to grow and what's going to influence that growth in their sales velocity. Because if you can't track these numbers, there's no way that you're going to ever be able to improve that as a sales org.
So out of all the podcasts that I've done 250. I've interviewed people like Jim Quick and Ed Milet and all the John Maxwell. Like, out of all the people I've interviewed, if you're listening to this, I'm telling you, this is going to be some of the most impactful stuff to change your business. And the reason I say that is because I've consulted now over 250 companies where I've gone to their offices. I've had over 800 businesses come to my boot camps. I've had tens of thousands of salespeople in my audiences and training and DMs, and you have two. There's only two people and two organizations that could say numbers even close to that in this industry. And so It's so funny because we see over and over again what you just said is businesses and salespeople come to us and they're like, help us get better, help us sell more, help me recruit more, help me fix my business. I have a guy that called me this morning out of Chicago, and I have a coaching call with them at 2. And he's like, I can't seem to get my ops people and my sales people to jive, and they're just fighting because the sales guys are getting lazy and demotivated. What do I need to fix this? And I simply say, send me the data. But if you don't have the data, how am I supposed to diagnose what your problem is? And you're like, he's like, fix me, Sam, fix me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you my best, honest try. And I'm sure they come to you and they're like, I got this app that tracks area management. And you're like, you're missing it. You're missing it.
Yeah.
This isn't area management. This is a technology to get data to then have lever conversations that drive my business forward. And so as reps, here's the bigger problem. People get apps that are, for those that don't know what Sales Rabbit is, it's a knocking app or sales enablement tool or sales velocity tool is the better way to put it, is to say, I need to see how many doors or contacts or attempts made, whether, you're knocking or contacts made. I need to then see how many are actually converting into demos, then how many are actually converting into closed deals, and what's the average deal size, like what he said. And then how long are those things sitting in my pipeline? So it's kind of like, okay, why are we in this neighborhood for such a short amount of time when there's so much more opportunities here? How often am I re-knocking? How often am I recalling and following up and all that kind of stuff? All of that needs to live from data that the sales rep puts into something. And if we don't give it the inputs, then there's no outputs. Like there's no communication. And so I had we've had problems with our dialer, LogMeIn. I do a lot of inside sales. We have a sales team. And yesterday they sent out the dashboard. I was like, what the freak? You made 6 calls all day today? Like I started calling people out. I'm like, what the freak, dude? We're door-to-door experts, not like phone experts, but damn it, my sales guys better be knocking. And, and then all of a sudden I find out that the thing's broken, but I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna calm down. Like, he's like, no, but I did it for myself. But it's like the fact that I know and could see and could track how many calls they made, how many, and they know that I'm writing like, you can't fake work ethic when you're inputting data, but if nobody's tracking all of this, then how do I know how to manage my team?